I just had a really interesting conversation with somebody who has been the target of an investigative journalist, sort of like me, but he runs the company that was, the subject of the investigation. And he wanted to know what he should do in this circumstance. And that's a really weird place for me to be because I'm here, I'm looking at health grifters and, other things on the internet. And, he said he was treated unfairly. And I wanted to, well, what would you do in that situation if you were honestly treated unfairly by a journalist? And I'm not going to tell you who the company is. So this is going to be a little bit of a meta conversation. But there was a pretty viral video, in fact, a whole viral channel showing, I think, in pretty good detail, how his company was not being honest with customers, how the claims in their marketing materials don't hold up to scientific scrutiny, at least the reporter's scrutiny. And the video, honestly, it really impressed me. And then there's this other side where my friend is talking to me and he's like, well, yeah, the guy had some good points, but our product does work in these sort of more limited ways. And and so then there's sort of nuance. You're bringing nuance to a gunfight. And so, okay, well, in that wild world of wellness and sort of like on the border of like really well done science and stuff with good scientific research, there's the marketing claims that companies have, to get someone to buy the product. And then there's the customers who come in with an expectation of a cure or a remission of the problem, and they can be disappointed because they've been sold on the idea of a miracle coming out of one of those eye popping things. Again, I'm not going to mention the company, but it was not dissimilar to those cochlear implant videos, where a deaf person who's never, heard sound before gets a cochlear implant and they turn it on for the first time and they're like, oh my God, I have sound. I mean, it was a sort of analogous feeling for or at least marketing presentation by this company. So, okay, so let's just go back and let's say that this company is out there. It's gotten a lot of I think justifiable complaints, a really good investigation against it. And the company is like, but there are still places that we do work. You got us wrong in some way. Well, how do you fix that message? So I put on my Scott Carney, how would I do it? Like if I really did believe in the product and maybe our marketing team was a little bit off and some of our messages were over enthusiastic, how would I try to fix this? And I realized that a journalist with a really loud platform, I have like 80 or 90,000 followers or whatever I have, and this person probably has, more than me. And the company has 300 people on YouTube, right? If they just shout facts, you're wrong, journalist, and it becomes a shouting match between these two people, there's no way the company is going to win that, especially now that the customers are engaged and feel betrayed by that company. So how do you do it? Well, here I thought about it a lot. I actually had a really long text conversation with this person who I think's heart is probably in the right place. The only way to fix it is, well, you could try to ignore it and just hope that your customers, because you think your product really does hit the right market, you can just ignore it and hope that everything sort of works out. I think that might be the wrong move, but you never know. That's what some people try the ignoring route for a while. But if that doesn't work, then I think what you need to do is try to change the narrative. And if the journalist that has done the expose is an honest person, it actually does have their heart in the right place, and they're not deliberately trying to manipulate the audience and the people trying to just slam someone. And I think most journalists aren't like that. Most of us have too much stuff to do than just slam someone. I think what the company needs to do, and this is going to be really hard, but try to convince the journalists where they are right. Try to bring them on board and find the comparable amount of where they overlap, where the claims actually do make sense, where we can agree on some ground facts. Because if you don't agree on facts, you can't sort of establish like a bed of reality. Then all we are hype monsters. And any good journalist would agree that facts are important. So if I were at that company, I would do, maybe I'd try to like make my own viral-ish video. Maybe it would be like, he thought we were a scammer. Can we change his mind? And go all in. Like, a video doesn't cost that much. Like, you fly out to wherever they are, and you bring them into your lab and you have them ask honest questions. And maybe there's, I don't know, maybe there's a moderator, because you want to, if you're afraid that the journalist is not going to be honest with you. And obviously, the company obviously has a reason to spin it too. Maybe you need a third party to come in there and be like, okay, we're reffing this. I don't have a dog in this fight. We're just going to try to figure out this answer. But you want to bring, if you believe in the product, if you believe in the thing that it really works, you have to bring them on board and do it as honestly as possible. Like, you need to admit your errors. Like, if they point out that you're taking negative reviews off the website, all the 5 stars go up and the 1 stars all disappear. Well, you have to admit that you're doing that. Like, you have to admit the reality that you share. And then if you're talking about science, and science is really difficult, right? Usually things aren't miracles. Usually things are sort of edge cases here and there, and under certain circumstances, something works certain done. And then you have to compare those to the marketing claims and come together. And if you're trying to defend your reputation, you have to say, look, here's where we got it right. And you want to get the journalist to agree, okay, well, actually, maybe there is a place that this does work. And an honest journalist can admit their errors. However, if you run a sham company and your product actually doesn't even have those edge cases, and you're just sort of shilling stuff with your fake studies, well, the risk is that this video fails to convince that person, and that effort fails because you are a sham company. It's just like with science. You have to do something that's falsifiable. You have to go out there, and you can't know how the answer is going to work, and you're going to go out there and you're going to try your best and present your most honest case. And I think that, it's going to be, somewhere between a correction video and a reputation management video. And I think that's the way you do it. Because honesty ultimately is the best policy. So these are my just immediate thoughts to a conversation I had. And I managed not to identify the actors involved in this. So kudos to me in this case. These were my thoughts on Scott Carney's back channel. Let me know what you think.